Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Dumpster Diaries. I am Moses Wartooth, and I am here with
Justin Allen.
And we've got news and stories and a lot of interesting stuff compared to sometimes. So let's get right on to it. Justin, what's we got first?
Well, man, I think like the biggest story that we could probably talk about right now is Shane Gillis. He, as of last night, because we film these on Sundays and they come out on Mondays, right? But as of last night, he hosted SNL, which he was famously hired and fired from all within like a weekend.
Yeah.
And so I'll give a little bit of backstory on how he got fired exactly. It's because it'll give some context to how important this show was.
Like what it means for him to be hosting this.
Yeah. So, Shane Gillis, I'm sure everyone knows by now. If you don't know him, you've been living under a rock.
He's blowing up.
Yeah, and I would call him like moderately conservative comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, especially compared to most comedians.
And that's why like a lot of people like him, especially in the South, because there's not really any conservative comedians. I mean, There's Colin Quinn. I don't know if you're familiar with some of his work or whatever. He's really good. I like him, but Shane is more I don't want to say edgy. He'll make a lot more like dark jokes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Colin Quinn's more of like, let's make fun of the government kind of thing, right?
I gotcha.
But he's really good. He has a really good special on Netflix that I encourage all people to watch. But anyway, so Shane Gillis, stand-up comedian, probably like a decade ago, starts a podcast with his buddy Matt McCusker, also a comedian, and they're doing good. And years go by, I think they get on like round episode like 300, and they're only doing like an episode a week to kind of put it in perspective.
So they've been doing this shit for years.
They've been doing it for
literally
a long time. Their account is the number one like Patreon account, like on Patreon.
Yeah, they got over 70,000.
And they only charge $1 a month. That's wild, dude. That's $70,000 a month for just providing an extra 30 minutes of content.
That's awesome.
Every week. Like, holy shit, dude. But, so, he's doing open mics. I think he was mostly around, like, the Philly area and stuff like that. Yeah. And then he kind of bounced up to New York. Well, he applies to, like, Saturday Night Live. He's like, hey, I got enough of a little bit of a following. Like, I think I might be good enough. And they try to hire him as a writer. And he comes out and just says, fuck that. Like, I'm not going to write these jokes that someone else gets to say, and then they get all the laughter and the applause from him.
Especially when he is a comedian. So why would you want to do that? That'd be like a step down.
Yeah, and SNL, most of those guys don't even write their own jokes, man. Like, I mean, they literally have teams of writers.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be 30, like, comedians that sit in a room, and they're like, okay, here's the topic. Like, we need 15 minutes of content based around this or whatever. And so he kind of, like, talks it out with him or whatever, and he's like, I want to be an actor. So they have him audition, which his story of the audition is actually kind of funny. It sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah.
So you go into a room you go into the main room, like the main SNL stage, right? He said, nobody's there. It's just you on the stage. And there's like a panel of judges or whatever. And you can't really see them. It's like some Illuminati.
They're wearing fucking hoods and
shit. So then they just judge you, and then you have to get up there and pretend like you're performing in front of like an entire auditorium.
In front of a live audience.
Yes.
Like you're actually doing SNL.
And he said it's weird because there is no laughter. And these guys don't laugh.
The Dark Lords are just like, enter, begin.
Yeah, dude. It's like you're becoming a 33 degree Mason or some shit,
He's up there sweating like, I wonder what the fuck my time is right now. How much more of this shit do I have left?
Yeah, he talks about it. He said it was like terrifying or whatever. And like he said, as soon as he walked off stage, he was like, there's no fucking way I got this job. And they were like, no, we loved you. Like, we thought you were good, man. So they hire him, I think like on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's so funny because I think like that Saturday, the Stop Asian Hate movement started. Because this is like the peak of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Like just starting or whatever. And so some little internet troll little shit goes through his podcast, like a decade's worth of material, and fucking takes out clips where he says some like you could call them racist, but derogatory terms against the Asian community, right? Now they took them out of context of a joke
because they were jokes. Yeah.
Yes. So they would just show like a 3-second clip of him referring to like Asians as like chinks or gooks or something like that, or imitating like an accent or something like that.
And they just made one compilation of all that shit and was like, he's a racist.
Yeah, and they took it completely out of context. Well, that was when everyone was getting... I mean, it was a fucking tense time, man. Like, everyone was super sensitive and everything like that.
Yeah, people were freaking out over
Yeah.
The fucking pandemic shit.
And that was when like BLM was like at its height too. Like people were like
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest. You know, totally, definitely not riots.
Yeah.
And they absolutely do not spread COVID. That was from our government. So anyway.
Oh yeah, rioting's cool. Thanksgiving with your family, that's bullshit. You're a criminal.
So he gets caught up in this bullshit or whatever, man. And so by Monday, he gets a phone call and they're like, "Hey, we have to let you go."
Because SNL is liberal as shit.
Yes, 100%. And it's because I know like with our stuff, man, like especially like our shorts. I mean, our show is like more. I wouldn't say serious, but it's just long.
It's more based in fact.
Yeah, it's more long form content. Like we acknowledge like that we say fucking crazy shit and like we literally just make up shit and we put it in our shorts. But we do it to a degree where you would literally have to be an idiot to think any of that is real. Now,
that's why so many people think it's real.
Like we'll find a fact, say it's one line of fact, and then
we'll embellish.
Yeah, and then we're gonna add a line or two before that, a line or two after, create some whole nother narrative or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if you believe that, you gotta be a fucking moron. But anyway, back to Shane Gillis, man. So obviously he says like crazy shit on his podcast, right? And so they pull it or whatever, and they're like, okay, cool, like we gotta let you go. And so yeah, he goes in Monday morning. He has never actually performed. He hasn't
got to do anything.
And they're like, "You're fired."
Imagine he's all fucking Monday morning. He's like, "Oh yeah, starting my new shit. This is gonna be fucking awesome." He's all hyped up and pumped to go in there. We gotta let you go.
And what was interesting is his job that he was supposed to be filling. They gave it to an Asian comedian.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yeah, and what is really interesting is that was the first Asian comedian they ever gave a full-time acting role to.
So who's really racist?
Yeah, so Shane put out like a whole post or whatever, and he was like, because they were like, you have to apologize. They wanted him to apologize. That was a big thing, and he was like, I won't do that.
I'll be like, you fired me. I have nothing to fucking give you. Like,
yeah.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, because they wanted him to apologize and then resign, and he was like, "I'm not apologizing." They're like, "Well, we're gonna fire you." And he was like, "Well, fucking fire me. I'm not apologizing for saying jokes, man. Like clearly jokes. You know, if you don't like it, then don't watch my content." Like,
and
whatever.
once you like, never apologize.
No, you can never apologize. Even if you're wrong, you're right.
Even because if you apologize for comedy, then you're.
That's it,
that
dude.
defeats the part. Like, you can't do that.
Comedy's like the last stand, too, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Comedy's like the last form of freedom of speech.
There's been like
where anything goes.
I mean, there's been comedians I've watched like my entire adult life, and even like from my teenage years and stuff, who have gotten caught up in some bullshit, and then they come out and apologize, and I just lost all respect for them.
Well, then they're done. Their career is done.
Yeah, like you're never gonna like. Because then it's always going to be the opposition's going to be like, we got him.
Yeah, because the people that like you, whenever you apologize, they're going to lose all respect for you. And the people that didn't like you are still going to continue to not fucking like you, so don't apologize. Yeah. It doesn't help you out at all.
You don't win in that situation.
You stand nothing to gain, yeah.
It's better just not to apologize. So Shane didn't apologize, and he puts his post out on his social media or whatever, and basically kind of talks about what happened. And he's pretty much like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, he doesn't. Jokes. Yeah, he doesn't like shit on SNL necessarily. But then he does kind of twist the knife. He was like, I was a Mad TV guy. Anyway. Yeah. You know, like basically saying their shit sucks. But it's a fucked up situation, man. Because his story, like of him telling how he got notified, was actually kind of funny. He was getting on like a train, like a subway. And like his agent was texting him or whatever and was like, did you say X, Y, and Z? And he was like, oh, God. He was like, no, of course I would never say it. Like, out of context of a joke. But he was just thinking, like, normally
Well, yeah, because if someone messages you and is like, did you say this? And plus, that shit happened years ago, so he'd be like, no, I haven't said that.
And then he said his agent turns around and, like, sends him, like, basically
the clips.
the clips or whatever, like, screenshots, clips or whatever. And then he has to get on his train, and then he loses signal for, like, 10 minutes. And so he said he's just sitting on this fucking train, and he's looking up, and then he says he can just see all these people staring at him. They recognize who he is. And he's like, oh, fuck.
Because he's, like, probably plastered all over mainstream media and shit
dude.
now. Like,
because they had
Shane Gillis the racist.
I think he was on, like, CNN, Fox, all that shit, dude. And they were just, like, all calling him, like, racist as fuck. And then, dude, and so he said all these people just staring at him on this fucking train, dude. And he was just like, God damn it, I cannot wait to get off the next stop. So then he gets to the next stop, and he's, like, getting the updates, and he can finally message back or whatever, you know? But, yeah, so they let him go or whatever. Apparently, what is it, Lorne Michaels, the guy who, like, owns SNL, like, gave him, I think it was like a $50,000 severance package.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to try to smooth it over. He said Lorne Michael was actually really cool about it. He said, you know, a few years ago this wouldn't be a thing and we wouldn't even bat an eye. He said it's just the times we live in right now, man. He's like, we can't get in trouble. So he was kind of a bitch.
True.
In my opinion.
But he's on network television, man. Like,
yeah,
they got him by the balls.
Yeah, man. So anyway, so Shane goes on, man, and then he, he starts like a really good. Well, he already had a career, but
after that, I mean, that pretty much jump started his big time.
Well,
shit.
He had a dark period for like I think a year or two, where like nobody would hire him for like nobody wanted to touch him, and he was like, "Fuck, man." And then I think it was Joe Rogan actually came in and saved his ass.
Probably.
And was like, nah, fuck that. And he was like, you come down to my club, like you start performing, like we'll work together. And like then he was able to like get a Netflix special. I think Bill Burr helped like produce and all this other shit. I'm pretty sure Bill Burr like paid for most of it to get done. And so then he just had the backing of like these longtime comedians that had been in the game for like a minute and have a lot of respect. And so now he's just like blown the fuck up because he never folded.
Yeah.
But what I thought was kind of cool was SNL asked him to come back and host. And I had mixed feelings about this because I do like Shane Gillis. So on one hand, I was like, dog, tell them to go eat a bag of shit. And then on the other hand, I'm like, nah, fuck that. Do it. Send it. Be the best. Show them what they missed out of.
Yeah.
Missed out on. Cash that fucking check. Never fucking talk to them again. But I don't know. But he did the show. The show, honestly, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't as good as like some people... I don't know, some people on the internet are like, oh my God, like they're starting to call him the king of comedy, which I do not agree with at all. No, there's way better people.
Yeah, but I mean, that's good. That's good for him because if he went on there, like personally, I would have taken the money. I would have done it. I would have been like, this is what you missed out on. Yeah. Like, fuck you guys. I still have zero respect for you as a fucking company. Like, fuck you, but I will take your money.
Take that money.
Yeah.
I think it would have been funny, like, if he would have taken that money or whatever, and then he would have done the show, but he would have made it, like, the worst show possible. Or... No laughs whatsoever.
Because like, that shit, it's live.
It's live, so
yeah. If he would have just walked up there and be like, man, fuck SNL, and just walked off.
Drop the mic and be like, I don't give a shit about this money.
I guess he would have got fined, but he could have paid that shit off, and then he would have gone on, like...
I mean, he's making so much goddamn money now. Like, he was talking to...
well, hell, he just got sponsored by fucking Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like, that's, that's a fuckload of money.
Bud Light or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and he was giving an interview I watched the other day, man. He was talking to his dad. Like, he was doing a show, and his dad was like, oh, are you getting paid? And he was like, yeah. And his dad was just, like, wanting to know how much. Like, because he... Not, like... out of any like nefarious, but he just wanted to make sure that his son was getting like his fair share. Like, hey, if you're putting your name out there, you're doing all this work, you need to get paid for doing this. And he was like, Dad, like he's like, the amount of money they're paying me for this show, this wasn't SNL, I think it was like an arena show or something. And he was like, I can buy your house right now. And his dad was like, what? And he showed it to him, and his dad was like, holy shit. I was like, it's just like a retarded amount of money. He was like, I'll buy your house right now. like, I'm good, dog. You know? But overall, like, man, I think his performance was good on SNL. I mean... One thing I didn't like is it was a lot of recycled jokes from like his special. So we won't play the entire clip because that is just a lot. Anytime someone hosts, they do their monologue and then they also do like skits as well. Now I will say this: the handful of skits he did with SNL, I thought were actually pretty funny.
Yeah, the one skit I saw, it was funny.
The Trump shoes or whatever. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's funny, right? But
yeah, more like redemption, like
that, and then like I think it was like SNL's way to kind of prove, or at least show good faith of like all parties involved, like we're past this now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because he brings in his parents, like he just shows like, hey, like this is cool, water under the bridge, whatever.
I'm not a racist.
I'm not a racist. I do like that opening joke where he's like, I got fired, but don't look that up. It's no big deal. Like, don't worry about that. But no, he's a good comedian, man. I think he has pretty.
Yeah, I do like him for sure.
If he can keep this momentum, I think he has potential to do a hell of a lot more, man. But like I said, man, my only beef with it, at least his whole part in SNL, was the monologue. Like, we didn't see it in this clip, but like later on, like a minute or two, he just starts recycling jokes from his latest Netflix special. So, or it might have been the one before that, but. Anyways, because I've watched all this stuff, and I was just like, well, I've heard these before. Like, I already know what the punchline's going to be, and I was kind of like, I don't think that was necessarily a good move. Makes me wonder why he probably did that. But
do you think he really thinks that that audience doesn't know him, or do you think he's just being sarcastic? Because
I think he's just being sarcastic.
If he thinks that they don't actually listen to him, then he may. I mean, because maybe if they are like the people who watch SNL, maybe that's not. I mean, I wouldn't assume that's his fucking target audience.
No. I mean, he openly talks about it. His audience is like, I think he refers them as like white trash rednecks and shit, you know, like it's all like MAGA hats and stuff. Yeah, dude. You know? So who knows? But we do need to talk about that redheaded girl in the background, though.
Yeah. Let's look at her real quick.
Yeah.
Right there. She's the one not having a good time.
She's catching a lot of shit on the internet right now, dude. And like every other comment I see about this, man, is talking about her. And just talking about how she has like this sourpuss look on her face. You could tell she just does not like him.
I mean, she looks like a young liberal woman.
Yeah.
So.
Because like all the other musicians, you can see like smiling and stuff.
Everybody
in their head.
Literally everybody else has a smile on their face.
She's just sitting there looking like she just.
Yeah, like I don't know. When is this fucker gonna get off the stage?
Like she just had to suck a lemon or something. You know, like ugh. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. You straight white male, you're the epitome of everything that's wrong in this country.
You cisgender bastard.
You piece of shit. You should be exterminated.
You're what's wrong with this country.
Who knows? I don't know. She could be smiling inside.
She loves him.
But I don't know, man. Yeah, because I don't think you haven't watched like the whole thing entirely, have you?
No, I don't watch fucking SNL.
Neither do I, man. I've kind of been against them for years, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I know comedy is subjective, but dog, when like comedy seems to be like very one-sided, I don't like it.
Yeah, same here.
What I mean?
I like people to shit on each other equally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I did like about Shane Gillis, man, because like a lot of people like align him with being a conservative, but like in his stand-up, he talks about how he's not.
Well, he makes fun of white dudes all the fucking time. I mean,
he literally makes fun of Trump.
He's a white dude, and he makes fun of himself. So like,
he makes fun of Trump all the time.
Yeah,
like all the time.
Impersonates the dude off.
Yeah, and he's been very vocal. He's like, I'm not a Republican.
Yeah,
you know, so I think he's probably more like libertarian or whatever.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
But anyone that's like too far on the spectrum on any side, man, I don't like it because I feel like you miss a lot of content that you could talk about.
You
know
do.
What I mean?
Like, just lean back and fucking laugh at it all.
Laugh at it all. Yeah, this is what we try to do.
Yeah.
Which is like super funny on our shit because like we'll make a short, we make fun of Biden, and then you can see like all the Biden supporters getting pissed off, and then the next day is a short
we'll
making
shit on Trump,
and then like all the Trump supporters are getting pissed off, you know. And I'm just like, you guys, can we just get along? You know. Then there's a few psychos that make it in the comments, you know. Yeah. They're like, actually, and then it's like some conspiracy theory shit, and it's like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't give a fuck about any of that. Oh,
they know nothing.
But yeah, so that was good. I mean, like I said, man, I got high hopes for Shane Gillis, man. I think he's gonna go out. I think he's gonna do a lot, man.
Yeah.
So as long as he can keep the momentum coming, dude.
I would say he is probably my favorite, like, newer comedian. So.
Because he's only I think 3 or 4 years older than us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool to see, you know, because it's usually like
older people.
Yeah, they'll be like in their 50s or something, you know. So.
On that grind for decades.
It took me a long time, like chain smoking. It took me a long time to get here, kid.
Yeah.
You know?
But now, like, people have the advantage of social media now. Like, it's way easier to get seen. So
yeah, we got the internet, man.
Yeah.
Like anybody can start a shitty podcast. Like that's easy.
Any couple of fucking idiots can do that.
Yeah, you can sit in a bunker and just talk about
shit.
Yeah. Who the fuck would really want to do that?
I don't know. I don't know anyone that does that shit.
Just like talking shit about our own stuff, own lifestyle. Oh man! All right, so I know we've been on Shane Gillis's dick for a minute, man, but there's one other thing that I want to talk about. It's completely unrelated or whatever. Which we did make a short about this. What was it? The AT&T like cell service outage.
The cell phone service outage.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. Because my shit did not work. I just woke up and I was like, because you were unaffected, right?
Yeah, and I have AT&T, which makes no sense.
And I use a cell service that contracts out with AT&T.
Yeah.
So it's a different company, but they use AT&T towers. But my shit was completely wiped out for over 5 hours.
Yeah, I literally have AT&T pay-as-you-go, the monthly cheap-ass bullshit stuff, and my stuff worked perfectly, but no one else I knew, all their shit was done.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it makes no sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, I will say this: I got on the internet, I started like looking up stuff or whatever, because I mean, like my Wi-Fi and shit was all still working and everything. Because I use Starlink, like we ain't gonna have those problems, baby. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I started looking it up, and buddy, the conspiracy realm was just blowing up, dude. They were like, we're being attacked.
China.
Yeah. A lot of it was like, this is China, this is Russia, this is China, you know? Like, and so that's why we made that short, like
this
making
is
fun
the
of
test.
it. Yeah. Because people kept saying that. I was like, what the fuck does this even mean? But they were all like, you know, fucking Momo's like tinfoil hats or whatever, and they're like, this is the test. And it's like, what test? Like, can you just tell me what you're talking about? But so that's why I put that shit in the short. I was like, it's gonna speak to somebody out there, and they're like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tell these people.
But yeah, I mean, for those of you that didn't know, or you didn't get online, see the news, or you weren't affected,
or you got fucking Verizon or Sprint, which actually Verizon and AT&T, they use the same shit now too, don't they?
Sure,
I think there's only like one. I think Sprint is the only one that has separate towers.
Separate towers,
I think. Which, who the fuck uses Sprint?
And what day was it? Was it Friday? I'm trying to remember. It was during the week, right?
I think it was Thursday.
Fuck
it was Thursday.
Fuck it, a couple days ago. You know, there's that. You know, so I mean, like, I mean, it was quite a bit. I mean, it was like tens of thousands of phones went out, man. Mm-hmm. You know, no one had any cell service or whatever. So, but thank God we live in the day of Wi-Fi. But I did find a clip for AT&T's like official like statement on like what happened, and we'll watch.
AT&T says every customer is back online tonight. It comes after tens of thousands of people noticed their phones weren't sending or receiving messages starting overnight. Oh, no. AT&T acknowledged the interruptions. Both Verizon and T-Mobile say their service never saw any issues. AT&T's Global Network Operations Center is looking into that situation. And the outage led to, of course, many speculations about the potential cause.
Yeah, we still don't know why tonight. CBS 4's meteorologist Ethan Rosick joins us now with one reason we can rule out. Hi, Ethan.
Hi, Bob, Aaliyah. And I just want to emphasize here, I took 2 astronomy classes in college. That's the extent of my astronomy knowledge here. Nonetheless, though, we still use a lot of these things when it comes to weather prediction and weather forecasting. But I want to debunk a rumor that really was circulating throughout most of the day. There were solar flares. 3 of them occurred overnight, the latest one being right in the middle of the spectrum for R1 to R5. These were radio interferences. The biggest one was an R3. So it was not the biggest, but kind of in the middle of the pack here. And these solar flares are an eruption of the sun's energy. We've seen these before, and we're going to see more of them in the years ahead here because we're near a solar maximum with what we're calling it here. And I first want to talk about this. This occurred 3 hours before the first outage reports came in here. It recorded the flare at 1:30 this morning, I should say, and it hit the radio frequencies, the HF frequencies, not the UHF, the ultra high frequencies where cell phones are on. So that's why these flares couldn't have been accounted for when it comes to the outage today. Not to mention it was nighttime here, and these types of flares occurred in the daytime on the other side of the world. That's where it was felt because these were radio interference coming from the solar flare. That's why we didn't get anything directly from the solar flare. Nonetheless, though, it's always a good reminder that if you do have cell service that gets disrupted, kind of like what happened with AT&T customers today, you have multiple sources you can have handy when it comes to getting weather info.
So AT&T officially came out and said, hey, it was solar flares. And this dude just broke it down and was like, there's no fucking way.
Weatherman Patrick debunked their shit.
Yeah.
So.
And I got a fucking my own little theory that I came up with too. So this affected the continental United States, Alaska, and Hawaii. It did not affect Canada or Mexico. Stew that around for a second, you know? Yeah. And if it was an attack, okay, let's just say it was an attack, right? Do you think our government would actually acknowledge that?
No, they pull a Russia and deny it and just hide it.
Try to patch up whatever the fuck they like, whatever the adversary used to like get one over on us or whatever. Or could it be some real nefarious shit from our government where they're just like, can we take all these fucking people out? Like, you know what? How much control can we really have or whatever?
Yeah, but if the government takes out our cell phones, that's just gonna hurt the government because then they can't tell us what to do. Like the people that don't need cell phones are not gonna give shit anyways, and those are the people that the government has a problem with.
I don't know, man. What if they just don't want people communicating, dude?
I don't give a shit. I don't want to talk to nobody anyways.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think something happened. Now, chances are like the easiest explanation is most likely. And someone probably just fucked up. You know what I mean? Someone was like changing out a transformer or whatever the fuck they're doing, and they just plug should have went into hole A, went into hole B by accident. Yeah. And then it was like, oh fuck, here we go.
And the guy didn't know what happened, so then it took like troubleshooting some hours, and they're like, oh shit, you idiot.
That's probably what it was,
That's probably really what it was. That makes
some 19-year-old kid that got like an online certificate or whatever.
He fucking just lied on his resume and has no idea about telecommunications.
Absolutely no fucking clue what he's doing.
Dude, there's a meme and it's this guy and it's like first day on the job and it's a massive server room and he just has like you can tell he just has no fucking idea what's going on at all. He's like shouldn't have lied on the resume.
Like fuck, dude. Yeah, dude, that would be like absolutely terrifying or whatever, dude. Be like, oh shit.
You're like, you're all good as long as nothing goes wrong.
Yeah. We're just like, oh, I'm checking up on some things or whatever. Going down a checklist, you're fine or whatever. But it's the minute you got to do some real shit or something really goes wrong, it's like, oh fuck, you know, here we are. Yeah, dude. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, man? What do you think it was?
I think it was just an operator error.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
I don't know, man. The conspiracy side of me wants to think that, like, China was doing, like, a fucking test. You know what I mean? To be like, what can we do?
But I don't know. I feel like if it was a test, it would have... Like, how long did it last?
I mean, I know... Well, I woke up, and then I had 5 hours of no cell service. So it could have been going longer for me.
So it probably had, like, maybe 8 hours or something?
I'd say 8 to 12 hours, probably, something like that. Which makes me wonder, you know...
Because I don't know. If it was another country with like some sort of a cyber attack, I feel like I don't know. I guess if they did cover it up, it took them that long to get it fixed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows, man? I don't know. We probably find out some shit later. You know, like it'll happen again. They're like, no, it's just another solar flare. Don't worry. Yeah. It's like this time it's the whole country or whatever.
Weatherman Gray's gonna get back on there and like, I told you the first time that ain't how that shit happens.
Actually, he has like a whole chart. He's like, there was no solar flares last night.
I've tracked the solar flare pattern for the past 16 months and this is not add up.
What do you think I do with my free time? Okay.
He's like, I took 2 fucking astronomy classes, bitch. Do not question me.
And it only cost me 2 marriages and 1 heart attack. You know. He's just like, it's all he does with his free time. Just tracking solar flares and shit. His kids don't talk to him. Yeah, I don't know, you know, but even like I think somebody from the government I was listening to, they were like, oh, we don't really know what happened and AT&T doesn't know yet or whatever. Somebody knows, but the fact that they just said it was solar flares and old fucking what did you call him, Weatherman Patrick or whatever?
Yeah.
He kind of broke it down pretty easily, like, hey, like this was not a solar flare. So
yeah, he explained it very well. Yeah. So I believe him over AT&T.
But the government's always up to like some shady shit too, man. So,
oh yeah,
it's kind of hard to trust those guys. It's kind of funny too because they're like, why don't you guys trust us? It's like, I don't know. It's like
the years of lies.
Yeah, it's like RFK Jr. is like super like speculative of like the government, right? Apparently he has like people that like legit like he has to hire his own security, so. He has people.
They wouldn't give it to him.
Yeah, he has people that like search, like they'll search his vehicles for like bombs, like improvised explosive devices, like bugs, you name it, like all kinds of shit, man. And then everyone's just kind of wondering, like, why are you so paranoid of the government? It's like, well, the CIA killed my dad and my uncle, so it's like, why wouldn't I be paranoid? You know, like. And
I'm currently not on the best terms with them by my belief system right now. So why?
Yeah, dude, I bet there's got.
Dude, he has a target on his back.
For fucking sure, man. I think we talked about it before. Like, there's no way that they couldn't Oswald his ass today, right?
Yeah,
it's too much. It's too high profile now. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got cameras, but. I don't know. I feel like things like strokes and heart attacks and random drownings like that happen to Obama's
the Kremlin's gonna poison their fans of poison. They're gonna hire the Russians to do that shit.
Hire the Russians.
Get the old umbrella stick in the back of the leg when he gets off a plane.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Didn't they? That was a journalist that did that too, right?
Yeah, in England.
Yeah, and he it was like some radioactive shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they had to clear out the entire like apartment complex because it was so radioactive, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like some real nasty shit because the dude's teeth were like falling out and stuff, and he's just like, "What the fuck is happening to me?" It's like
the Kremlin, they got you,
dog. That's some scary shit, man. I think being poisoned is like one thing. Like I don't know, like out of like all the ways to go out, you know, like I just think if like I had someone who was trying to take me out, I think just like a gunshot wound to the back of the head would be good. You know what I mean? Like just let's wrap this shit up. We ain't got to drag this shit out all day. You know what I mean? I got shit to do. You know. So.
Well, hell, then you hear about like spouses poisoning their significant others. That's a relatively common thing.
Like that fucking chick we covered forever ago.
Oh, that military member, his wife put she was putting poison, she put antifreeze in his coffee or some shit.
Oh, there was that. I forgot about that. I was talking about the Australian woman that killed her,
with the sandwiches?
With the mushrooms.
That's right.
She fed like her entire family death caps, except for her and her child ate like a completely
Wasn't
separate.
it like some spaghetti or some shit?
Stew. She made a special like batch for her and her child, and then like everyone else ended up in like intensive care. I think like 3 people died or some shit because they had like organ failure. And then she was like, "I had no idea. I bought them from the store." Like, bitch, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen a portobello mushroom. That don't look like one. You know? And apparently that was like the second time she'd tried that.
Stop going to that bitch's house to eat.
I know, dude. It was like mostly, I think that her husband was a target mostly. Like, fuck that, dude.
Just like family dinner. I'm sick of all of y'all.
God, I gotta be door dashing nonstop in that fucking house. I would
be like, I only eat canned goods that I open the fucking can.
Yeah, sealed containers.
Be like cracking tuna cans, looking at her.
Just set it down, leave the room, come back, throw it in the trash. Open another can. Yeah, I bet like poisoning's got to be probably one of the worst ways to go, man. Like, because there's just some just shit that we've studied in school, man. There's some nasty shit out there that no one ever hears about.
Yeah.
That's like not really all that controlled either.
And a lot of it is like just because they prolong it because they don't know and they don't want to do it. They don't want to give you too much because then it'll be kind of obvious if you just keel over dead. But like some of these people spend like months going back and forth to the hospital and like random aches and ailments and shit, and they're like, "Fuck."
Slowly up in the dose or whatever. Yeah. Oh my god, fuck that, dude. And then you probably like
just feeling like shit for months.
Fuck. Yeah, dude. And you're just like, what is happening to me? You know what I mean? Like,
and then meanwhile, your wife the whole time's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I wish you would feel better. Here, drink this tea again.
Try some more grandma's stew." I was like, I think the stew's making me sick. No, I said eat it. I'm just like force feeding you the shit. You know? I don't know why. Like now we're getting on a tangent of like husbands killing wives, I guess, or whatever. But there was a funny story that I read that I just remembered it. Did you ever hear about the dude that like I think he ended up killing her. She might have lived, but that shot his wife with a crossbow in the garage. Oh my god, dude. So there was this dude, and him and his wife, he just like fucking hated his wife, but I think she thought they were like in a good relationship. And like so one day he calls her into the garage like, "Hey honey, like can you come help me with something?" And she opens the garage door, like goes in there like or whatever, and as soon as she walks in she sees him like standing there with a fucking crossbow. And he just fucking shoots her like in the stomach, and she's like, "Oh fuck," falls down. She lives the first time. I remember that specifically. And they chalked it up to being an accident. And she was like, "Well, yeah, he was messing with it, but it was clearly an accident." He was like, "Oh my god, what an accident."
I can't believe I hurt you.
Yeah. And then it was like 6 months later he did the same shit. Like,
another crossbow
in the same garage, this exact same scenario. She walks in like, "Hey honey, can you help me with something?" And he's like, "Surprise." Boom, launches another one like in her fucking stomach or whatever. But I want to say that woman lived both times.
Why would you choose that method? That is a very unlikely method to kill. Like.
I know, dude. Like unless you hit like some super vital organs, like you're not gonna die from that shit, man.
No.
You know? Like, unless you hit him in the heart, I mean, you could probably even hit him in a lung and they're probably still going to live. You know what I mean? I mean, look at all these, like, hunters that shoot elk, man, like, or deer or whatever, man. How, like, those things can run for a minute,
yeah.
Like, and then they got to go hunt those fucking things down, you know?
I mean, you should have got her in the head.
But, yeah, dude. But then also, like, I'm like, why are you going to fall for that trap twice? One, why are you going to stick around if someone shot you with a crossbow under those circumstances?
I mean, if she genuinely thought it was an accident, I mean,
yeah,
he probably just gaslighted the shit out of her. It's like, babe, you know I've never do that
like,
to you.
In the hospital, like, come on.
Yeah.
You know know me. Like, you know.
Like, you walked in the line of fire. Like, I didn't even see you were there. It just slipped. Like,
you know those cops had to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, those detectives
they were just sitting back, listening to the conversation, be like, you fucking kidding me?
He's like, she's believing this shit? You sure you don't want to press charges? Like, he shot you in the face with a fucking crossbow. You know? I don't know, man. But yeah, dude, there's some wild ones out there, man. So, all right, boys, just be careful. You know, when you're going out, picking up women or whatever, you're on that Tinder. Be careful, man. There's some crazy shit out there. Well, I guess that last story was a dude. But...
Don't trust them. Well, women are statistically way more likely to poison you.
That's what I was getting at. The poisoning, because men will always do like violent shit.
Men's gonna do the quick and easy route.
Yeah, it's always gonna be like a gun or like some sort of weapon or some shit like that. And because I think it's like statistically like suicides, like men will always shoot themselves or hang themselves, right?
Yeah, and women pick pills or something like mainly pills.
Sit in a car with the garage with a car running or something like that, you know, or like slit their wrist.
Yeah.
Pussies.
Not committing suicide. Suicide's bad. Fuck.
Yeah, because I totally didn't just call them pussies. No, it's terrible. But yeah, for whatever reason, guys are more violent, like a motherfucker, dude, when it comes to that shit. And I think we're like 4 times more likely to be successful.
Yeah.
In that process too.
I mean, if you're taking a gun, unless you don't really mean it, you're gonna succeed.
Yeah, man. So, I don't know, man. So I'm sure that translates over to like homicide and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like guys will probably be typically more violent than women will. Guys will probably do things like use crossbows. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. You know?
They get more creative.
Dude, that's one thing. Like, I could never be a fucking homicide detective, dude. Like, Dog, have you ever watched The First 48?
Yeah, I love that show.
Dude, those guys... Fuck. Like, especially if you get them when they're like in Chicago or something. Oh, hell no, dude. It's just murder after murder after murder. And they're like, yeah, we got like 300 this year we haven't solved.
I mean, they're not going to solve that.
No, they're not. Ever, man. And then it's like, when they get a call, it's like the first 48 hours, they just know they're not sleeping.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just got off like a 10-hour shift. And then it's like, all right, well, here we go. Get the coffee ready. I'm like, how the fuck can you function? Nevertheless,
that's one of those you have to love your job to be a like homicide detective.
Shit's wild, man. But I do like sometimes like those detectives will be very honest. Like they'll walk in a crime scene and just be like, yeah, we're not gonna find this guy.
There's no chance here.
You know. And it's always only when they're like in a ghetto or something like that, you know what I mean? Like projects or something, like, yeah, we're never gonna find this guy or whatever, you know. But if it's like the suburbs, like, God damn it. I'm like, I'm like, everyone on this, you know?
I mean, the suburbs, they're gonna have ring cameras, whereas in the ghetto, they're not gonna talk.
Yeah. You go to the suburbs, like, everyone's going to be on the street and be like, well, I saw that motherfucker.
Like, Jimmy was back here, and I never trusted that motherfucker. You need to look into him. Anybody that they don't like, they're just going to accuse of killing somebody else, too. Mm-hmm. They're going to, like, it's the total opposite. Like, if the cops go to the suburbs, they're going to have 500 fucking suspects interview. If they go to the ghetto, they have nobody.
Yeah, everyone's
like, I ain't seen shit, and slam you in the face.
Get out of here.
I ain't no snitch. Fuck you.
You know how bad I'm going to get it once you leave?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I ain't trying to be next.
Holy shit, yeah, man. I don't know. First 48's a good movie, man. I mean, that's kind of a tense fucking movie, dude. Especially when they get the suspects in custody.
It's a movie?
Oh, sorry, I'm saying movie, TV show.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, TV show. Sorry. Especially when they get the suspects in custody. That's when it gets like, especially if they know, they already know, like, and they're just gonna, okay, we just gotta interview this guy and he's gotta self-incriminate or whatever, or like cop to it or whatever. And some of those guys, man, they just start spouting bullshit. I'm like, why don't you just ask for a lawyer?
Dude, every time.
First fucking 10 seconds they walk in that room, you should be like, I want a lawyer.
And then the cops are always like, well, you can get a lawyer, but then you're going to be sitting here for a long time. You're better off just to talk to us right now. They try to trick them into doing that shit every time, or they'll try to say something to set them off and get them to forget they wanted a lawyer and start talking again.
I'm like, well, fuck it. Give me a pillow, a blanket, and a fucking soda and put me in one of those holes. I'm going to be here whenever that dude shows up. They're like, well, it's Friday night. He ain't going to be in until Monday. I'm like, well, all right. Looks like we're all going to be fucking hanging out until Monday, you know? Fuck you. I'm done talking to you.
Yeah.
I think even if I was just like completely innocent, I think I'd still just give me a lawyer. Like, fuck you. Like, you're not gonna back me in a corner. Like,
I mean, if you're in that situation where you're being accused of some serious crime and you're in an interrogation room, you need to just lawyer up, because they're gonna say shit to trick you into incriminating yourself, even if you didn't do anything wrong. They're gonna continually ask you the same questions, and then as soon as you misstep on one of those, they're gonna just be like, "You're a fucking liar."
He's lying.
Yeah, you did it.
Because they just want to clear that file. That's all it is.
Yep.
You know, damn, it's dirty, man.
And they got the whole good cop, bad cop thing. That shit's funny.
You think they still use that?
Yeah, dude, I've experienced that shit.
Oh, shit. not for a murder, though, right?
No.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. Staring at the camera, eyes all wide and shit. Like, learn something new about Moses.
No.
No. I mean, just like, you know, petty, stupid kid shit or whatever. But yeah, man, I don't know. But that's definitely one job, man, I am not envious of. Homicide detectives.
I would rather be a homicide detective than a street cop, though.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Nowadays, a street cop has to deal with the bottom barrel bullshit, dude. Like, you gotta there's no you couldn't pay me money to be there's no amount of money to be a street cop. They have to deal with so much bullshit, and then they get blamed and accused for anything if they try to even do their job.
Well, I remember when I got out of the military, it was like early 2020, if I remember right. Or was it 2021? I think it was 2020, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
Because COVID happened. I think it was 2020, yeah. And dude, I can't remember. Once you get a few years down the road, like, it starts like
it all blends
together.
together.
It starts blending together. But I remember like COVID hadn't really been around that long. It was still like at its peak, and then that's when like all the BLM riots were happening. And I thought for 2 seconds, I thought about becoming either a firefighter or a police officer. Like, I'm talking beat cop, like nothing like, you know, just the type of guys that pull you over for like speeding and shit. You know. And then I started seeing that shit on TV, and I was like, bro, there is no fucking way my Wonder Bread blue-eyed ass is going to be fucking walking the streets of Houston. Fuck that, dude. Fuck that. I'm not doing that shit. You know what I mean?
No way, man.
Because I was going to go to Houston because, like, their local PD is, like, paid very, very well. It's almost like 6 figures. Like, I think it starts off like 98,000 or some shit like that. So
I got a buddy that's a cop in California, and I'm pretty sure his is 6 figures.
Yeah, no doubt, especially the cost.
But
of
again,
there,
you couldn't pay me to do that shit.
Nah, dude, I was like, fuck that, man. When I saw them like just beating the shit out of cops and stuff, and I was like,
and then if the cops lay a hand on them, then they get reprimanded.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a piece of shit or whatever.
Yeah. You're a racist. Like, no, I was trying to keep my fucking teeth in my head from getting beat out.
Then I think it was at a police station. Was it in Minneapolis or Cincinnati that they burned down, and then like literally like the police chief, I think the mayor came out and were like, basically abandon your post, like leave.
Oh yeah.
The station, like, yeah, you know, because they were trying to defend it with like sandbags and like riot control, you know, beanbags and shit. And I saw all that shit, and I was like, bro, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm just gonna go back to school. Yeah. Like, you know, like, it's like, I'm good. Fuck that part. I probably would have been a good cop, man. Like, honestly, as far as like not being a dick towards people and stuff, you know, and be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but dude, like, people make you become a dick. If you're a cop, because you have to deal with the shit. Normally the shit balls.
The shit of society.
And everyone fucking hates you. Like,
it's never ending.
Yeah, dude.
And it's just like a constant revolving.
And then even when you try to do the right thing, like, you see the same people, like the same domestic violence situations, whereas the women never want to press charges. They just continue to get the shit beat out of them. Like,
oh hell, Jerry, what did I tell you about the next time I have to come out here? You know, like, fuck, you know. Oh, that's old Moses coming on in. Rest my ass again. I ain't going back to jail, goddammit.
I told you.
Especially down here, man, in the South. Holy fuck, man. I don't know. But there's interesting people everywhere. But I can see how people would become jaded pretty fucking quickly in that line of work, man. Especially if you saw like fucked up shit all the time, and then you would just assume that like every single human being has like, well, which they do, but it has that capability within them.
Yeah, you would look at everyone different after that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, fuck that. I like being optimistic, dude. Like, I like smiling and joking and be like, hey guys, we're all friends. No one would ever lie to us or try to hurt us, right? You know? You definitely wouldn't steal the shit out of the back of my car, right?
Yeah, there's no reason to lock doors, right?
I don't have to have a gun. Everyone's friendly,
Leave
right?
the car running when you go in the store. It's all good.
Dude, you know what's funny is I have a cousin that got their car stolen just in that exact scenario. Yeah, it was in our town. It was in our town. You know that Love's gas station, like on the highway that you take, like whenever you're going towards like the university or whatever. She went in to get like a pack of smokes or something like that. She only had this car like 3 months. She bought like a new Challenger. It was either a Charger or a Challenger. But anyway, new car, nice car.
Mm-hmm.
Has it running, has it sitting right there by the front door. She's not in there 2 minutes, man. She said she was the second person in line. Someone hops in the driver's seat and fucking backs up, drives off. They never found that car.
Never?
Never found that car.
Holy shit.
They took that shit and probably stripped it down for parts
took
and
it
everything.
to a chop shop.
Yep. And I was like, dude. And she was just like, I don't know what to fucking do. I was like, yo, your shit is probably like 6 hours away by now. It's probably, or getting loaded on a boat and getting shipped to like some fucked up country in the Middle East or something, you know?
I mean, realistically, nowadays, if you swap the plates, just change the fucking paint job, like, and drove it out, like, if you took it out of state and had a registration for the same car and swap plates on it, you'd
probably be all right.
I think so.
I mean, I'm not an expert in boosting cars by any means, you know. You
I mean, as long as
suspiciously know a lot about this.
As long as you don't get pulled over and check the VIN numbers and shit. I mean, I think
I never understood how people can like do that shit, because I'm just like, paperwork, like those are like databases that are controlled by like the state, you know what I mean? I'm like, how do you get around that, you know?
I don't know.
Like, you gotta be clever as hell. Like, I could see, like, if you stole plates from, like, a same make and model and color or whatever and swapped them, as long as you never got pulled over, like, if you were just driving in a cop, because they just run your plates as you're driving.
Yeah.
They do that all the time. Like, when they're sitting on the side of the road, that's what they're doing. Like, they're checking for speeding, but if they're, like, in a slow area, they're running plates as you drive by, because they're looking for people with warrants and shit. And so, I mean, if you did that, it would just pop the same make, model, color.
Yeah,
and
and
just keep driving.
Like, checks out.
You know? But the minute you get pulled over and they're like license and registration, you're probably fucked, you know? Like,
that's when you hope you stole a fast car.
and that's some shit box, like,
yeah, dude.
Toyota, Honda Civic.
Little rice burner car.
Holy fuck. Do they still make Honda Civics? Are they still manufacturing those pieces of shit?
Yeah.
Good God almighty.
Dude, they get like 40-something miles of the gallon.
I've always heard that.
Them things are good.
I've always heard they get like badass.
Yeah.
Like gas mileage or whatever.
I mean, they're economical and dependable as far as I know.
Yeah.
At least they used to be. I don't know if they're still a good car or not, but
you know, I never like really heard of like one breaking down.
Nah.
To be honest with you, but I do know a lot of people who had like Fords that are broken down and like had issues. Cause I mean, I drove a Ford Ranger for years, and like I had to replace so many parts in that goddamn truck, dude. I was like, but I will say this about Ford, man. They design their engines in a way to where like you can work on them yourself.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, because European cars are not designed that way. Trust me on that one, man. Like when I owned a BMW, I was just like, fuck German engineering my ass. Like I was like, yeah, design it in a way where you have to go pay someone like an egregious amount of money just to like change your oil or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I had an old Mercedes Benz, and the battery was under the back seat.
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, man?
They do dumb shit like that all the time, man.
Yeah, like that sounds like a major fire hazard.
Like some trash rolling around,
yeah,
disconnects, you know, positive and negative. Next thing you know, your ass is on fire.
Yeah.
You know? Oh man, shit. What time we got? We got what? About 50 minutes. Well, shit. We probably need to talk about these ballots, man, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
At least like have some real shit to talk about. Oh man. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna pivot a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna talk about, because election season is up and we have the primary elections and all that stuff. Super Tuesday is right around the corner, which is where about a third of the nation will vote in the primary elections, like state-wise. So I don't know. Where do you want to start this one? Well, first, all right. Let me start with this. Trump recently just beat Nikki Haley in South Carolina. Like, he knocked her dick in the dirt.
But she's not worried about it.
Yeah, she's not worried about it, which is interesting because she used to be the governor of that state. And her own people were like, nah, fuck you. We're done with you.
Yeah.
And so Trump comes in and he wins, you know, South Carolina primary. So he's going to be on the ballot as like the number one pick in South Carolina. But she gave a statement and she's talking about how she isn't concerned or whatever because there's Super Tuesday and she thinks she's going to come in and clean house. We're going to see how that goes. I'm sure you can probably imagine what I'm thinking right about now.
Don't hold your breath.
Do not hold your breath. Oh man, so what do you want to talk about with this one? I guess we should start federal, right?
Yeah.
And then work our way down to the state.
I mean, the most interesting thing that I found was Biden is not on the Democratic presidential ballot.
Yeah. So this is a newspaper from our local town that has a sample ballot of what we can choose for on election day for the primaries. And we looked at the president, and for the Democrats, Joe Biden is not on there at all.
Neither is Kamala, which is no surprise.
Yeah, and I don't recognize damn near any of these
It's just a bunch
names.
of nobodies.
So I don't know, man. Maybe.
So my thought is they're going to either swoop him or possibly fucking Michelle Obama and just toss her on there last minute. And do some kind of crazy mix-up thing where she just gets like, or some, like, whoever they pick to really push, they're just going to toss them in at the last minute and then just funnel all their shit and just have some kind of blown-out thing at the end.
Because I don't think it's going to be Joe.
No.
I don't think it is. I think it would be, for the preservation of their party, it would be very irresponsible for them to put him up as a front runner. And besides, he hasn't even debated one single time.
He won't. He's not, I mean...
Exactly. And he, like, declared, he was like, oh, I'm running, and then you haven't heard him say shit about that since.
They're probably like, shut the fuck up.
I think he has some issues going on. I think it's all bottleneck and come to an head. I think they kind of realize, like, we can't do this, guys.
Yeah.
Like, this is a bad idea or whatever.
So I think they're going to just pick whoever it is in the end. They're just going to push them, be like, yo, this is who we got, and just funnel all their shit and just put all their cards on the fucking table and all their betting on one person.
What if that lizard Hillary Clinton comes crawling out of her fucking hole again?
Dude, surely not. I don't think
no way.
People don't like her anymore.
Dude, she was having seizures and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't remember all that?
No, I don't pay attention to her.
Yeah. I mean, I literally watched videos of her having seizures and then, like, Secret Service just shoving her into, like, an SUV or whatever.
Oh, that's because AI wasn't as advanced. That was her robot shit she was freaking out like.
Yeah, dude. All right, well, I'll tell you what. To kind of move on from the federal side of things, like, you know, for our listeners in Texas, which I know we have a lot of, I want to talk about some of the propositions that we have. So it looks like we have, 13 propositions coming up that we can vote on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 13. And I like Proposition 1, and I think it's great that it's number 1, but I'm just going to read it for you guys and let you see what you think about it. Proposition 1, Texas should eliminate all property taxes without increasing Texas' overall tax burdens.
Who the fuck is going to vote against that?
Because we don't have income tax here.
Yeah.
And if they do away with property tax...
You know how many more businesses and shit we're gonna get because of that?
Yeah, dude.
Like,
I didn't, but also I'm kind of like worried too. I'm like, how you gonna pay for shit?
Who
I guess
cares?
sales tax. I mean, their problem, you know. I mean, they would, but that's the key language at the end of it is like without
and not raise
increasing
anything else.
Texans' overall tax burden.
Yeah.
So the way I interpret that is you're not raising taxes anywhere else. You're just eliminating property taxes.
They need to cut out all these stupid fucking pointless programs and shit that they're doing. Right? Like, I'm sure if we trim the fat on that bullshit, we'd have plenty of fucking money anyways.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I see that one getting passed. You know, like, and that would be fucking great, man. You say, because our property taxes are actually relatively high in Texas. In my opinion, they are.
Well,
I mean, they're definitely not the highest in the nation.
I mean, they got help with, because Abbott signed that $100,000 off your homestead shit too. So that helped everyone out.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I fucking forgot all about that, man. But, yeah, there's another one too. Proposition 2, I do find this one interesting. It says, Texas should create a border protection unit and deploy additional state law enforcement and military forces to seal the border, to use physical force to prevent illegal entry and trafficking, and to deport illegal aliens to Mexico or to their nation of origin.
I don't want to deport them. I just want to deport them to Mexico. I don't give a shit where they came from.
Make
just
it
get them out of
Mexico's
here.
fucking problem or whatever. Yeah. You know, so.
Be like, they fucking found their way here. They can find their way back. I don't want to pay for them to go back to fucking Syria. Like, get out of here. It's too much. I ain't paying for the fucking plane ticket.
Yeah, that is a point, man. That is a good point, because then it's like you're just spending more money on plane tickets.
Let me see that shit. There was one on there that I did have a disagreement with. Everything else makes sense.
We're not even podcasting now. We're just reading a newspaper and like talking to each other and shit.
Like, oh, you guys are still here? Fuck.
Oh shit! I guess this shit's still recording.
This. No, not this one.
Jeopardy music playing.
I know what it is. I'm looking for the fucking.
Yeah, you're trying to find it. I mean, there's a lot of shit on that page, man. But yeah, I think it's I can't disagree with like the tax thing at all. I'm sure like most logical people probably can't either, because I mean I fundamentally believe that like property taxes are unconstitutional. I think most taxes really are.
Yeah.
There is leeway in the Constitution for like the state, big S, to levy taxes, because they obviously have to be able to pay for shit like national defense. But I just think if you own your property, man, like
You should own it and not
you own it.
essentially rent it because you still have to pay money on it even after it's paid for.
Not rent it from the government. Did you find what you're looking for, man?
Yeah. There's Proposition 9. Let me know what you think about this. The Republican Party of Texas should restrict voting in the Republican primary to only registered Republicans. What is that? What do you get out of that?
I know what they're doing.
What do you get out of that?
So sometimes there's a thing, I can't remember the name of it. So all right, so we're gonna play like hypothetical here, right? Because I don't claim to be a Republican, more libertarian than any of that. But let's just say hypothetically, you and I are both diehard Republicans, right? And let's say somebody's running for president as a Democrat that we don't like. Hypothetically, I don't know, just pick somebody you don't like.
A Democrat?
Yeah,
Biden.
All right, Biden. But okay, that's easy, right? Now let's say that Biden has someone he's running against, right, in the primary. So let's say he's running against Kamala Harris, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's close, but what you could do is instead of voting for a Republican in your party, you could go and dilute Biden's pool and vote for Kamala Harris, bringing him down to knock him out of the primaries, knowing she wouldn't win like the general election. That's what that's trying to prevent. That's how I interpret it. Like, if you vote Republican, you need to be registered Republican.
I feel like that's bullshit. I feel like I should have the right to change my vote and vote for whoever the fuck I want to at the drop of a fucking hat.
I mean, I can see that argument. I'm just saying that's what people do. That
should be my right to do that. That makes sense. If you think that your vote would count more by voting for someone that you want to lose later, that should be your right to do that.
Well, let's put it this way, too. It'd be like, say, like some like Democrats or whatever would come in the Texas primary and vote for Nikki Haley to bump Trump off the ballot in Texas. That's what that's trying to prevent.
I still don't agree with it.
I think you should be able to vote whatever the fuck you want. Like,
and my thing on this is only registered Republicans. To me, call me conspiracy bullshit now, but if you're on a Republican, like if you're on a list of Republican voters, that means that someone is going to know that, okay, this guy is a Republican. So then eventually you could be subject to be like, okay, let's have the fucking IRS audit all these goddamn Republicans, because fuck them.
What number was this?
9.
I'm going to read this shit again. The Republican Party of Texas should restrict voting in the Republican primary to only registered Republicans.
Like, to me, that's an unnecessary form of identification that I don't want to be a part of.
Okay.
Because let's say somebody gets a hold of that list and they're like, okay, well, we know all these guys are against us, so fuck them.
Well, how I interpret this, you actually could be able to vote like outside of your party still.
But my thing is, I don't want to be on a list.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh,
that's unnecessary, man.
Of course, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've looked up my information and like how I voted in the past is like out there online and stuff. And I'm like, how do you have that information? Like, how do you know?
It's supposed to be confidential.
That I won't say where, but when I lived in this part of the country, how do you know that I voted libertarian?
Yeah.
And they fucking registered me as an independent. How do you know that? It's like, you verify it's me.
That's like a breach of privacy.
That's what I think. I think it's no one's fucking business, man. But I don't know. Let us know what you think, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments, because this is going to be an interesting election year. That's all I got to say. But hey, you know what? Always got faith in democracy, right?
Positivity.